of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. What an awesome privilege it is to be alive this side of the grave on a Thursday, beautiful Thursday morning. Wow, we are privileged to be alive. And yes, I hope you are subscribing. And if you did not do that as yet, come on now, man. Come on now, man. Yo, man. Just hit that bell and subscribe, guys. Then you will know what is happening. You are on the Inside Show with none other than Talk with Joan Thursdays, and we are happy to be here. Well, I'm excited because we are delving into a topic that is close to our hearts, and that is our youth. Remember, it's not just Father's Day month. Yeah, it's Youth Month also. So we are celebrating our youth, and that is why we have our youth leader in the studio with us, and then we have our youthy pastor in the studio too. Yay, man. Ons is sommer nie net so nie nie.
Come on now.
Yeah. So yes, beloveds, we are so grateful. So we are talking the real lives of the youth, right? That is what we are talking about today. We're gonna we can't delve in because we only have an hour, you know what I'm saying? If we had a whole couple of hours, yeah. We could have delved deep, but we're gonna just brush the surface, right? So I'm gonna ask these beautiful people just to greet you, and then we're gonna go over to a little bit of an icebreaker. I have my ball again, guys. Ek het weer hierdie ding. And you know, my host, co-hosts are not here. Ja, nee, hulle het vir my alleen in die lurch gelos, julle. The one is gone with the children. You know, it's school holidays, and it's very important. And then Pastor Vi don't have her kids with her, you know. So it's very difficult for her. For us, when we play with our grandchildren, she also wants to play with us. And they so far. Hulle is oor die see, mense.
Over the waters.
Over the waters. So that is why they're not in the studio with us. And I think it's going to be for a few weeks. But nee, ons gaan aan met die dinge. Niks kan stoppie. So, I want these people, beautiful people, with me this morning to greet you. Say hello to the people there.
In a shot first, bro.
Go for it.
Morning, guys. I'm Justin. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm really excited to be here. This is one of my favorite podcast shows. So if you haven't subscribed, please click that bell and make sure that we are, subscribing to this amazing show. And I'm excited to be here this morning. And I want to talk about these things. It's dear to my heart to chat about the youth. I work with a lot of youngsters, so it's an interesting conversation and topic to have this morning. So thank you for having me. Talk with Joan.
Yes, man.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. We're looking forward to an interesting topic, interesting conversation. To everyone jumping on to the live, thank you so much. Please engage, chat with us there. Throw in your thoughts and as they say, throw in your 5 cents there in the comments. And we'd be definitely keen to hear what your thoughts are and how you see this whole topic that we'll be having today. But thank you for joining us today. Let's get into the conversation.
Yay, before we get into the conversation, ons moet daarom net so bietjie a gel het, right? Yeah. Julle verstaan my.
I don't use gel anymore.
Yeah. You don't just put gel on your hair.
You use that thing.
I use a sponge now.
Jellish. So I'm going to throw this ball to you, right? Where your thumb goes, that's where you're going to actually answer, okay?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, okay. Let's do it.
Talk about your feelings. That's a bit of a hectic
Emotional early in the morning.
Thursday, my bro. Whoa. Okay, so yesterday I had a interesting conversation with a good friend of mine, Kamagela Matsoso. She's a renowned jazz artist, and she's just brilliant. But yesterday we were speaking about, just talking about where you're at in life and what is currently happening. And I shared with her that some of us are finding ourselves in a weird space
Yeah.
of you know what's happening, but also you are not moved by all the stuff that's happening
That's a fact.
in the world. There's wars happening. People are,
Yeah.
going through extreme situations. But some of us are just in that limbo where you don't know how to feel.
Absolutely.
You don't know how to feel about what's happening. Yes, you understand the severity of what's going on, but some of us are just in that limbo of we know what the word says, but we also know what it looks like. So you caught in between the two, like it's a catch-22 of how do we
Yeah.
feel right now? So today I woke up just really grateful to be alive. Number one, to be able to speak to so many youngsters every day and to change people's lives. So I'm in a weird space, but it's a good weird space. It's one that you want to engage with and be
Absolutely.
part of. So yeah, that's talk about my feelings. What a way to start the show on a Thursday morning. You ready, bro?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's see. Wait.
Grab that.
There's something
Okay,
here.
I got every day I can. Every day I can what? Every day. Yeah, okay. So every day I can wake up to a new opportunity.
Okay.
I'm on a journey now where I'm just exploring different avenues of wealth creation for myself, and how to look out for opportunities that generates an income outside of my 9 to 5.
Okay.
And so every day I get a new opportunity, and for me it's one of those things that, like, okay, if I didn't get it yesterday, all right, let's see if we can get it today.
Right.
If I did get it yesterday, let's see if I can get it again today. And that's been my situation. Where so every day I'm making some progress. I'm seeing. So if it says every day I can look forward to a fresh opportunity to see. All right, let's see if we can get this thing today.
it today.
How can we
Right,
make this thing
right.
work again today? Yeah.
Interesting, guys. Interesting.
Must I throw it to you?
Yeah, you have.
throw it
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Okay. Wat is die? Play therapy supply, your choice.
No, that's
I need Joan.
no. What does it say? Is that not the marketing, the advertising of the
Yeah,
thing?
it is.
So check your other finger.
Oh, okay, this one. No, I feel better when I.
You feel better when you what?
Okay, I feel better when I talk with Joan.
Yes.
I feel better when I am on the inside show.
Yes.
Yes, man. I feel better when I talk to people. Because people's our product, right?
Yes.
And that is why it's very nice to actually have a chat every week after week, and I enjoy it thoroughly. And today we are talking on the lives of youth, guys. Youth. Now I want to just bring a scenario in, right? I want to just talk, because we Bible people. Yeah, sorry for your love, the Bible people. Sorry, man. But I just want to throw in something. You know, with the fight of David and Goliath, right? So now Goliath was this giant guy, this macho man. I can see him as a bodybuilder. Jy weet hy groot is wat se muscles so staan. That was those muscle men.
Yeah.
That they just
They can't
do
even close their
whatever.
arms
They
because
can't,
it's
yeah,
just
yo.
they're huge.
they big men. So I see Goliath as that person, right?
Yeah.
And now I see this little boy by the name of David
Yes.
actually coming to give scuffing to his brothers, man. His father now sent him.
To give
His
some
father
lunch.
sent him
Yeah.
just to give some lunch to his brothers. And
Yeah.
now he comes there and he check out this whole thing that's happening there now, and he sees this guy walking up and down, and he's saying, yeah, who can fight with him and whatever and whatever. And he's looking at this guy and he's saying to himself, yo, everybody of David's people, are scared. They don't want to fight this guy. Even the king didn't even go to just
To
talk
liaise
to the
with him.
guy.
Yeah.
Talk to the guy, And in this, I see this young boy. This is a youthy guy. This is a young boy. And he was a handsome boy, right? And he then listened to what this guy is saying. Who's there to fight with me? And then he realizes, he says, hey man, maar ek is mos aan 'n kind van die Here man. I'm a child of God.
Yes.
And who is this uncircumcised
That's
Philistine?
Favorite
That is
line.
actually, trying to
Intimidate
to
us.
intimidate the children of God.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And then he came in, he said, I will fight with this guy. And then the king said, no, but you're just a youth. And that's where I actually want to take up this topic.
Okay.
Because many times, people don't see the strength within.
Yes, that's true.
They just see you without. They see this youthy person. They see this young person. But my father always used to say, dynamite comes in small packages.
Small packages, that's true.
And you don't know the dynamite that sits into
Within
the
some
lives
people.
of some youth.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
And that to me stands out, because then the king wanted to put on this whole facade on him, this whole
Regalia. The warrior regalia.
The warrior regalia,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And he wants to put that on. And then this guy said, nay. No. Not the strategy.
No.
I have a strategy from on. I take 5 stones and I'll get this guy down for you. I'll come with his head on a little
Platter.
platter.
Yeah.
And you know what, guys? Everybody, even his brothers, looked at him like, what's going on with you? Are you trying to seek for attention? What is the matter? And many times, as elderly people or as parents, we think that these children are seeking for attention.
Yes.
Right? In doing certain things. So my first question to you guys is, how do you think, right? That's not, you didn't prepare this one. This
Okay.
one is Pancela. What do you think is today's youth different from the youth of the past?
Do you want to go?
Sure. That's a very interesting question. Is today's youth different from the youth in the past? Yes. In the light of what they've been experiencing.
That's correct.
The youth of the past didn't have social media. They didn't have the ease of access to internet and what's so easy to access right now in our real time right now as a youth. They didn't have some of the issues that our youth is dealing with was not present in, let's say, the youth of 1976. In terms of social structures, household structures. Back then it was, respect was taught, and that was the basis of your life. Foundation was respect. And
You must be seen and not heard.
You must be seen and not
Right.
heard. And back then, a lot of households had present parents. As
Yes.
much as they were busy
That's
heading
correct.
out,
That's right.
but they had present parents.
That's correct.
Even if your dad was strict or your mom was strict, you still had a mom and a
I
dad.
agree.
And here, our situation right now as the youth is, we have a large number of youth that don't have the stability of a full household. When I say full household, I mean a present mom and dad.
That's
Sometimes your mom and dad can be there, but them not being
not
present,
present, yeah.
doesn't help you at all. And so I do think there's a vast difference between our youth of today and the youth of
the
let's
past,
say,
yeah.
of the past,
Yes.
your previous youths, your previous generations. But the interesting thing is, I think where we are similar is in our resilience.
Yes.
Just like the youth, let's say, of 1976, we are as resilient as that youth, if not, in my opinion, slightly more. Because
I agree.
we can mobilize really quickly.
I agree.
Our social media platforms and structures that we have right now gives us the gap to mobilize really quickly. It takes one message from myself to Xavier, and I say, we can do this, 1, 2, 3. He sends another message to his friends, and the next minute we see there's 15 people mobilized already. Social media is hot, the topic is trending. And so in that light, I think our resilience is just as big as it was back then. So there's a difference, but there's also a similarity between our youth and the youth of the past.
Absolutely so.
Yeah, so if you look at the positives and the negatives, like what Justin was highlighting over there, is that you do have a situation where the previous youth wasn't exposed to the things that the current youth is being exposed to, as it relates to especially social media. I'm in a nice age where I was old enough to remember what things were like before the internet and before smartphones and all that kind of thing, and what things are like now. But there's pros and cons for both, right? And if you look at things that people are struggling with the dopamine and all the access to inappropriate content and stuff like that, that wasn't the case back in the day. Or if it was someone's father that had magazines under their under their mattress or something like that. And now everyone has a smartphone in their hands from the age of less than 10 years old even.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
That's very true.
I mean, my daughter's 7 now. She has a phone.
Luna is 8 months. She's crying for my phone.
You see,
I say, no, girlfriend, you don't even know what
you
this
don't even
is."
know what's going on, but you will be phone us. But
That's
and then
true.
again, there's also as much as there can be negatives to it, there's also positives to it. With the
Positives, yeah.
advent of social media, the advent, as you mentioned earlier, the advent of artificial intelligence and this, people are making. If you look at the Zuckerbergs and the guys that started Twitter and the guys that started Google, even they were lighties when they started.
Yes,
you know,
they were
That's true.
college.
they were
young
college
guys,
guys. They were like
Young.
19,
Yeah,
20-year-olds, you know.
yes.
They were young, but they're multi-billionaires. So I think the mindset also had to shift because I remember my parents' mindset was like, no, you can only be a CEO after 50 or after.
Yeah.
And I used to have this argument with my father. Hey, the CEOs that are 20 that are
20,
making
yeah,
billions a
of
month.
rands, bro.
You know,
True.
they're multi-billionaires and they're 20, 25. There's lighters that are trading that are not even 20 yet, that
But
are
they're
already driving
multi-billionaires.
Lamborghinis and things like
Yes.
that. So there's this thing where because the technology is the speed that it is, you learn also quicker and you develop quicker and you understand the world
Your
quicker.
skills are being
Your
sharpened.
skills get sharpened quicker. So back in the day, to be able to be successful, you're only looking at someone that's already like, an old guy that's been through life.
In their upper 40s and
Yeah.
50s, yeah?
And then today you look at a young guy and you're thinking, yo, that's not even 30 yet, but he's already achieving 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are kind of the differences, pros and
Pros
cons
and
that you
cons,
can
yeah.
look at with the advent. I mean, we just touched on technology now, but there's many other different elements also that you can look at. But yeah, those are some of the things.
Yeah.
Right, I like that. And then also there's something that I actually want to bring in, I think today's youth, when it comes to the economy of the country, yes, they participate in it. With us, we could have, go into the workplace straight from grade 10,
From
grade 10, standard
Hectic.
8.
I didn't know that
Standard 8.
Okay.
Right? And then if you now want to go, because you could go even and go to the teaching college
Okay.
with a grade 10
Certificate.
Certificate, okay.
because those years we used to get a certificate, a grade
Oh, okay.
grade 10 certificate.
I'm learning today. I
Right?
didn't know.
Yeah. I have a grade 8 and a grade 10 and a grade 12 certificate.
Okay.
So
And you could use both
could
of them.
use both. You could use both. So you could like I left grade 12, right? I went to the teachers' college, and it was the riots.
Mm-hmm.
And then I joined up. You know how it is. You
Come on
want to
now.
be in.
Yes.
And but then this one morning I said, I'm gonna go work. And I went just playing the fool, my friend and I. And you know what happened at F&B? We
Yeah.
started immediately.
Hey?
They asked us to start. So it
Immediately.
just shows you that you could have come out of school right into the workplace.
Into the workplace.
Whereas today you find
very
that you
difficult.
have to be more flexible. You have to know skills.
Yes, ma'am.
You have to study, So what would you say in that regard, how difficult it is for our youth of today, to actually, because that is also a difference from the past to the
to
present.
what's happening right now.
To what's happening
I
now.
think also what happens in that regard and in that case, there's also a lot of narratives being pushed down
Yeah.
on young people now,
That's very
especially. So now when you look at the advent of social media, you find now that the element of, and I was watching a video the other day, the guy said it's not that you're depressed, it's that you have a dopamine addiction. And so now you wake up and you have your phone in your hand. You
Yeah,
go
that's
to bed, you can't sleep if there's not something playing. You know,
Yeah.
you get
need
so
something to
addicted to,
stimulate
yeah,
you.
you get so
Yeah.
addicted to being stimulated all the
Yeah,
time, and you're with looking at something and watching something, and it's getting to the point now where you have your phone in your hand, you have something playing there, you have something going on here. It's like you can't. I see now in the traffic in the morning, take my kids to school, then there's people are sitting and playing on their phones.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
like, but guys, hello, we in traffic here, but
Yes.
because you became so addicted to this thing, you have it in-
Difficult to let
and
it
so
go.
and so the side effects of that thing is the rise of mental illnesses. It's the rise of this anxiety, because you constantly wanting to know what's going on around the world, and you're constantly getting information, and you constantly, so now because of those, because it can lead to an element of depression also. Now then we have the social injustices and the social ills of what's going on, where you find all the corruption that's happening, where people that they in certain workspaces, they only give the people that they know, even if you qualified, even if you
jobs,
have the
yeah,
thing.
that's
Oh,
true.
yes.
Now you're like,
True.
hey, I'm sitting here with all those
Yeah.
qualifications, but I still can't get a
Yeah,
job, and I still can't this,
absolutely.
and now I'm overdosing with dopamine, yes, and now I'm feeling anxious, and now I'm feeling depressed, and it all culminates into this big ball of just
Oh, yeah, that's so true.
disaster. It's
Yeah.
like, yo, bro, what do I do now?
It's like constant bombs.
It's
popping
like
off.
everything
Yeah.
going on all around the
Yeah.
place. And now you go onto Instagram, and now you see this person's traveling, this person's doing this. Oh, it looks like
Yes.
this
Posting
person's
the
doing
cars
well.
and all of
Now
that.
you're like, hey, now I need to also make a plan.
My life is
Now
slowing
now my
down.
life,
What's wrong with me?
What's wrong with me? Am I
Yes.
doing something wrong?
Uh-huh.
Now you start thinking, hey, maybe I must get involved. This is what
You get
makes it
wrong-
easier. You get involved in the
wrong
wrong things.
That's
Now it's
true.
like, hey, maybe if I sell something, hey, I'm making money selling,
That's
you know,
true, that's
illegal
very
things
true.
now. So let me jump into
at
this
first-
space here.
and I'm sure at first there's guilt,
There's a lot of guilt.
you know.
And
but-
then you
but
try to
because-
justify it like, hey, bro, but I'm making money,
Yeah.
you know, hey, what must I
Yes.
do?
Easier now.
We're struggling.
Yeah.
Then people go into the life of crime. Then people go into the, bro, there's no jobs in the... Then you
Yeah.
hear people say, there's no jobs in the country, so what must I do?
Yeah.
I mean, it's to the point where we called out the life of crime 2 weeks ago. It went viral for people saying, but what must the people do? There's no jobs, the government is not giving jobs. So now it's at a point where we're justifying crime
justifying it, yes.
Yeah, that's
because of the lack of jobs
and
and things.
that's where we at in
Yeah,
South
that's
Africa.
where we are.
That's
People
where
are
we
justifying
today.
wrongdoing. It's like, so what must... There was even a comment that said, yeah, the children, they stealing the Uber drivers' money, and they're hijacking the Uber drivers, because at least what else can we do? It's like, bro, we're getting to the point where we're justifying something that's
That is
wrong.
Yeah,
And
the
that's
wrong
the thing.
becomes right, you
wrong
see, and
becomes
the right
right,
becomes
becomes
wrong.
wrong.
And that's the situation.
That's
and,
very
and,
true.
and with all that said, right, so what do you think, or how does the characteristics of youth look like today then?
Sure. Characteristics. Look, we are, like I said, we're much more resilient, but this youth, what I've noticed about them is we can make a plan out of nothing. That's the weird part of this youth. We can create things out of nothing, but the difficulty is it's getting to the point of feeling like, okay, I need to create something out of nothing. You have to knock on a million doors before you actually realize, okay, you know what, no, nobody's answering, I have to do this on my own. And that's why we find the youth, like Xavier's saying about the whole depression and the dopamine thing,
Yeah.
is because we're constantly looking for the opportunity, but when we find it, and we're still knocking, but it's not open to us. That's where
Yeah.
we get to the point of now we're creating our own stuff. And I find the characteristics of our youth are we much more quick to, we can make our own thing when we want to. If we are in a rock and a hard place, we'll find a way out. But sometimes it's not that easy for some other people,
Oh, definitely.
just because of circumstances.
Oh, definitely.
Your household, how the township that you grew up in, or the neighborhood that you are in. For people who live in the affluent areas, it's much more easy to have access to those type of things. But for those who don't live in the affluent areas, that's when crime becomes a tool to use to get out of the situation. But the one thing about crime is that people don't tell you is the minute you get into it, it's very difficult to get out of it.
Yeah.
because it's the ease
Yeah.
of
Yeah, yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
If I do one thing and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get
yeah.
the result,
Yeah.
I know, okay, this is always going to work.
Yes.
And now we forget about the way that, okay, we use this as a tool to get out, and now that we're out, it's so difficult to get out because it's ease of access. There's all the money. There's the Uber drivers. There's the companies. There's the guns laying around. There's people you can call on right now that will give it to you. And the difficulty is staying out of it. So our youth, it's a weirdness. We have one part of our youth that is very conscious of, let's do the right thing. Let's have that moral compass. Let's do what we were taught to do. And then the other half is like, okay, we see what we were taught to do, but the situations don't look like this. So this is how we're
Easier
going to deal
but
with
then
it.
would you say it's easier then to thrive from doing something negative then?
Look, the facts is people have been thriving. Let's talk facts here. If you look at things, they've been thriving. When I say thriving, I just mean in the space of having the ease of access. Mentally, I probably not.
But here's my thing. We
Yeah.
have a situation now where, especially in the female youth space, right, where we got something called OnlyFans. Now you come and they say,
Yeah.
now they go onto this platform, they get this kind of money. They're like, bruh, I'm making 100,000 rand in a week,
I
bruh.
don't have to go to corporate.
I don't
bro.
have to
What
do
is
nothing,
studying?
my bro. I
No.
can be on my phone in my room and make 100K now.
No, literally.
So it's easy. That's why I'm asking
Sure.
you. Is it
That's
easier to do the wrong thing and get money? So someone might argue that that's not the wrong thing. It's freedom of body and whatever. Yeah, it's the wrong thing. These girls that come out of the thing, they say, this
I
thing, like you
shouldn't have
said,
done that.
mentally, this thing
It
is
messes
bothering
you
me.
up, yeah.
I'm hoping that I can delete those things from the internet, but now it's
But
out
you
there.
can't, and the internet is always permanent. Even if you delete something, it's always gonna surface.
Someone already
somewhere.
copied it, or someone's
right.
posting
Besides
somewhere.
OnlyFans, Xavier, there's something called Feet Finder, and I will tell you about this because I tried it in varsity, bro.
What's Feet
tried
Finder,
it.
bro?
Feet Finder, it's a thing,
Like
It's-
feet fetish or?
bro. Literally, and 2016.
Are you serious, bro?
2016, first year varsity. A friend of mine said to me, Justy, there's this app called Feet Finder, bro. All the people want to do is see pics of your feet, whether it's cute, ugly, they pay for it. And I was like, yo, I have cute feet, man. So I went.
Make money on
I made a couple of bucks and I was happy. I was like, yo, for my feet, I don't have to do anything funny.
Oh my
The requests were like, please take your shoes off and show us your toes after work. I was like, this is something I can do. And then I did it. And I got money from Feet Finder. And then at the end of first day, I said, it's getting a bit much because then the requests were a lot that I couldn't, keep up with. Then I realized, it's not it. But that's the thing, the ease of access, bro. Feet Finder is there for people to do. And it's beyond like just, it gets to the point where it's an OnlyFans type of thing.
where it starts becoming
Where it-
overly
where
sexual
it
and things.
becomes overly sexual.
So that means that the character, one of the characteristics, it's the digital world.
It's a digital world, yeah.
And the
right?
ease of making
And
money.
ease of
there.
making
the ease
money.
of making money
Yeah.
without working, and doing the wrong things then.
Yeah.
And then there's also something like hopeful but discouraged. They're discouraged because the South African youths, we sit with a problem where, I don't know, is it 45.5% of youth
I
was
think
unemployed?
it's much more than that, actually.
I think it's over a 50%
Sure,
mark.
I think it
was
is.
unemployed, and it's very difficult then. So you find that while many are optimistic about the future, you find that a substantial amount of or number of young people are discouraged by the lack of opportunity, particularly in the job market. Because there's
46.1%.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
You see,
It's a bit
so which means it went up because the last time I checked was 45.5. So it's
Went up by a percent.
46.1%.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a lot of young people.
People that don't have jobs.
And it's also young people who studied,
Yeah, qualified.
qualified young people.
Graduated.
I spoke to a young person who actually went into the law field, and with all that qualifications, he can't find a job.
That's
So
the
I
reality.
suggested, okay, it's easy for us to say, open your own practice, but you first have to do articles.
And the practicals after that,
And the
before you
practicals.
open up your
Exactly.
practice, yes.
So that is it's one of the things that
It's a
stands
reality.
out like
It's
a
a
sore
reality.
finger
But
in
everyone's-
South Africa, in the
everyone's-
life of South Africa.
Everyone is also not geared to be a CEO of a company because it takes a different
Caliber of
thought
people.
process
Yeah.
to run your own thing than to come and do what you need to
And
do
be a part
and
of
get your
something, yeah.
salary and then go home. It's a lot easier to come and do your work and get paid, even if it's a decent salary, 50, 60,000 rand, even more. Some guys get paid a lot more than that. But you come to work, you do your job, you go home, it's done. You know, end of the month, you
like
budgeted.
clockwork.
Yeah, you
There we go.
budgeted. Okay, the house cost this, the car cost that. I
Yeah.
can buy groceries with this. So you've budgeted it in your mind. Then to run your own thing is a different thought process because now first you gotta rent a place or hire a place or wherever you're gonna practice from. If you're gonna practice from your house, now there's things
There's
that
a
you
whole
need to have
different ballgame.
in
There's
place.
the Wi-Fi. There's the, you
then-
know.
But now you have to have certain there's restriction that you can't do it from your house. You have to have this license to work
Yep.
from your house, or you have to register your house as a business place or whatever. Now you're like, okay, let me go to a business district and hire a small office. Now that office is 20,000 rand a month. Now you're like,
Taxes
"Hey,
on
but
top
I
of
don't
it."
even have a client. So now how much am I charging my client? Now it becomes a whole thing of, "Ish, how do I now run this thing?" And that's what makes it difficult. It's like, I have the qualification. I know what I'm talking about. I can do this thing. But now the barrier of
Difficulty is,
entry
yeah.
is so high. It's like, yes, bro,
It's like you
I
having
really
to
don't have money. How must I
jump
still
over
get into
hoops.
this thing now?
Yeah.
Sure.
So it really does become difficult. But again, it makes people resilient. You know that whole story of bad times create
Tough people.
tough people.
Tough people, yeah.
Tough
what is
times never last.
No,
Only
no,
tough people do.
No, tough people. Tough times create tough people.
Yes.
Then easy times creates weak people,
Weak
and then
people.
weak people create tough times.
Yes.
So it's the cycle of when things are difficult, we become resilient. It's like, hey,
Yes.
now I need to make something. I can't not do anything. Then you make a plan. You come up with
Yeah.
a solution, and eventually you're like, hey, here's the business working. Things are now coming together. Then you became tough and you made the thing work. But now then the cycle goes to your children where it's like, Daddy, give me money, boom.
It's the ease of access.
Because now it's
Yes.
easy.
So now you're lazy.
Yeah.
Now,
Now
you,
you
don't have
become
to work
lazy.
for it.
Now you
Yes.
become never mind. Now you become like, it
Yeah.
is what it is. And then you become lazy. Then you make tough times again. It's like,
Yes.
So the cycle continues.
Yes,
Then
it
the cycle
continues.
continues.
But
So-
this is where social media also comes into play because look at what COVID did. COVID allowed a lot of people to go online and to make a lot of
Money.
money.
That's
how a
right.
lot of people,
That's
the young,
right.
the youth, became TikTok famous. You know, like a good example is her name is Majimbo on TikTok and Instagram. She was making dumb videos, putting glass on, eating crisp. You know, having that hectic accent, and she was saying, "Yeah, guys, we are here, we are here," and she trended. And then when I saw last, she's meeting Beyonce. She's invited to these big things. Now she's a big influencer,
Wow.
and because she used the tool of social media. So there's the half of our youth that is brilliant at, okay, there's no door opening, so
I
I'm
must
gonna
make a plan.
I'll make the window. Forget about the door. Here's the window. I'm gonna make
gonna
it.
jump through this
and then they
window.
did that, and just because of their consistency, they became multi-billionaires. Not even millionaires right now. She is in apartments in Paris. She's just from, and she's a South African girl. She just decided, you know what, I'm gonna make a joke about this whole thing, and from a joke, she became viral. And that's why I'm saying there's the half of the youth that is so resilient and we can create it.
Sure.
And then the others that are just like, I graduated, I studied, I'm jumping through hoops, just like you're saying. It's difficult. Now I can't open my practice. You're giving me all these type of, and that's when the demoralization comes in.
So
And
do
now
you think?
we stay home.
So do you think it's not only the resilience, but you have to actually
You have to have the
do
drive.
action.
Hey, action and
Jeez.
consistency.
Action and
Consistency is
consistency.
where a lot of people get it wrong.
Yes.
Consistency is where people
bro.
get it wrong. So we started a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you push, you struggle to get views, you struggle to get people watching, and eventually you get tired. You're like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. And then the time when you get tired, it's like that picture of the guy digging for diamonds.
Yes,
And
and
right
he-
before the last one, he's
he
like,
gives up.
he turns around and he walks
Because
away.
he sees someone else
Because
getting the
it's like,
diamonds before
ish.
him, and it's like other YouTube channels are pumping. But
Yeah,
they're
why
not
am
as
I
important.
struggling and
Yeah.
what am I doing
Yes.
wrong and this, and then you end up leaving. But just that last little push could have got you to a place where it's like,
Wow.
yes, here's this thing working.
Like with
here's
Amazon.
it coming now. Here's the people.
Amazon was started in a garage. Jeff Bezos wasn't the guy that we see right now. He started in a garage. There's pictures of him, and he constantly used to say, "No, guys, we're consistently gonna do the same thing over and over." And it took a couple of
He
years
used to sell
get.
books, was it?
Yeah, it took a couple of years with a good team to understand. Okay, guys, we're pushing for a reason. And now today, he's one of the top billionaires in the world. He's living that type of life, but it's again, if he wasn't consistent, it would have been like how most of us treat our daily jobs and the stuff that we have
Yeah,
access
you come, you go, you just.
we get lazy, we get blasé, we don't wanna anymore, and that's when the consistency starts to dry up.
Slack,
And then the opportunity is there, but because it's too far now.
Yeah.
And we stop before we get
So
to the
that's
opportunity.
also an element of if you get lazy, you get tired, you get like, man, I don't have less for us. Then you start dropping off. But in anything, right?
Yeah, in anything.
anything, you
Life-
have
That's
to
how
be
life
consistent.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to get somewhere,
You
you're gonna
have
have
to
to
push.
have the try. You're gonna have to push through difficult times.
So even the person that has now his degree, he has his thing.
You still have to
Hey,
push.
my bro, now you must. You must
I'm at the end of my master's right now.
Bro, what can you do?
And I'm just like, huh? What's happening after this? And they're like, Justin, are you going to do PhD? And I thought to myself, it's nice to have the titles. But having titles with no opportunity to exercise the titles
That's
doesn't
it.
mean anything to me.
That's
Now I'm like,
correct.
okay, yeah, I got the titles, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, where do we head to from here? Because also I'm in the art industry. It's so saturated. And South Africa's art industry is so filled
Yeah,
with the
no,
most
true.
mediocre talent that you
Yeah,
can
no,
find.
it's a
We recycle actors and musicians and performers, and then we don't give the gap to the ones who are good. So here you go, Justin, you're getting your master's in sound design. That's great, but there's no gap for you to go into because it's saturated with, if you only know, if I know you, then I can get into that
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
If I know you, I can get
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
space. There's no opportunity like it is in the States, for example, where opportunities are there for you to go into all the time. They are so hungry for fresh talent and for fresh. They don't want to recycle. And one famous, actually Nicki Minaj posted this about, what is her name? Bonang Matewa. And she said, and I laughed at this because I thought, yo, she's so true. She posted and she said, South Africa recycles talent like it's a garbage bin. And I was like, and she posted about her and she's like, yeah, you're the MC, you're the host, you're the biggest talent in the room, you have the most money in the room, and then there's billions of other people that are more talented than you that don't even get the opportunity because you're being pushed the whole time.
But I think the shift with social media brought in a positive shift to that
Yeah,
because
that's true.
now you can and the best poster child for this, even though now it's a bit hectic for us, brother. Now, Mr. Perry, he's the best poster child of like. Okay,
Coming out of the
Hollywood
poverty,
doesn't
yeah.
want to give me opportunity. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna start my own
I'm
thing.
gonna do the own
I'm
thing.
build my own thing, build my own thing, build my own thing. Now that I have the money, I'm gonna buy my own studio. Now that I have my own studio, I can run my own thing. Now I give people opportunities that are in my space. So the advent of social media, I believe, and I say this kind of tongue in cheek, but I do think that it does take a bit of consistency and a bit of
Yeah.
creativity to say, you know what, nah, it's true. I'm not getting the opportunity.
Let's
It's
make our
true.
own.
There's
Yeah.
bias here. It's true. There's racism here. It's true. I can see. I could even in the football now. I think the other day the guy that said, but now guys, the last time Bafana was something was when we were a nice mixed
That's
group.
right, yeah.
Now it's just one way or the highway.
the
you know?
highway, yeah.
So when we bring in the other guys, at least we got a little bit of. And I know personally guys that struggled because of their
Yes,
race.
that's right.
So I'm saying this. Okay, right. Here's the thing. We are being marginalized. We are being looked down on. We are, like you're saying with the Bonang example, it's like, ish, you can't be doing everything. There are people, I'm sure there's 10 other people there that can do probably a better job than what you're
And
doing.
it's proven, it's a fact.
And they're sitting there, but they
Yes.
don't get the opportunity because they don't have the
Because-
contact, they
yeah.
don't have the connect, they don't have this and
Yeah,
that.
so now how do you think, you as a youth leader, right? How do you think that youth navigate their way through divided society?
Sure. One thing I can say is I have a mix in between. I have the ones who are easily persuaded by what's happening outside and they give up. And then I have those who are like, okay, I knocked on the door, it didn't open. I knocked on the window, it didn't work. I saw there's no opening, so I'm going to break the wall. And now, so I have the mix of that within the group that I'm with. that I have the half that says, you know what, it doesn't matter. I'm going to kick the wall down. I don't care what's happening here. And then the others are like, yeah, but circumstances and I can't. And so there's that push and pull.
Do you think that is because of the way you were brought up, you were reared?
I think it goes back to you. That whole cycle. My parents allowed me, spoiled me, gave me the opportunity, so I don't have to work that hard. And so I go back into that race of now lazy people create tougher times, and now the people have to, it's like the constant circle again. And I do think that background and how the households are run plays a huge part in what our mindsets look like. Because if we don't have to, then why should we? If we don't have to fight, why should we fight?
No?
Why should, if my dad is as cool as Xavier with his daughters, I know I have a phone call away, there's my dad, I don't have to. But for some people, it's a matter of we don't have that net.
So
we have to
You
push.
have to fight it yourself.
We are
You have to
constantly
break
back
that
against the
wall,
wall and hitting.
Yeah.
And that's the half of the kids that I see, that I have, that say, even though I have the backup, that can't be my safety net always. So I'm going to push. And so I have the half of them in between that says, let's go. And the other half that says, I'm very comfortable. I want to stay here.
Yeah.
So it's interesting with this youth that it's like, it's a catch-22. You have and then you don't have at the same time.
So what would you say is the challenges that youth face today?
I mean,
Sure.
that is part of the challenges.
One of the big parts,
There's race issues. There's inconsistency. There's divide. Like, they say South Africa is the most. Do you know South Africa is rated number 1, the most divided country in the world as relates to income. You have people who are rich and you have people who are poor, and that's it.
Yeah,
There's
and
no.
the in between
I'm a
is
little bit here, a little bit this. Either you up there with the guys that
you're
are
down.
making the big money, or you were working from your pocket to your mouth. It's like hand to mouth kind of a situation. So you have that to contend with. You have. There's a lot to contend with. There really is a lot to contend with. And then you find the issue, especially in our brown communities, where now we are taking each other also.
Yeah.
we can never be happy for one another because
Now this person makes
mindset
it.
again.
You're like, like for
What did
example,
he do?
Tyler makes it. Ne? Tyler breaks out. It's like, okay, we're happy one of our colored girls is now in Hollywood. Then it's like, she must have slept with someone. She must have
we
done
always
this. She must
have the negative things
It's
to
like,
say about
okay,
the success.
bruh, can we at least celebrate the fact
That she's
that
successful.
she made it, regardless, and the chances that what you're saying is true probably has some merit to it. Maybe there was some untoward things going on behind the scenes. Perhaps there was. We don't know, but at least, bruh, it's one of our people. We made it. We're doing what we need to do.
Listen,
We're
Kim
out there.
Kardashian did it, bro.
Let's celebrate one
Kim
another.
Kardashian's whole her life is
Started
built
with
off of a
that tape.
funniness.
Yeah.
And her mother decided, I'm going to manage you. I'm going to use this video to propel your whole career. And now their entire family are billionaires. And because her mother said, okay, well, the circumstances look like this, so let's use it to the best of our ability. But the thing is, like you're saying, with colored communities, and here's the big thing, even in our colored youth, it's so difficult to be proud of one another. Because when we get taught at home, it's a matter of, if they're doing better, what are you doing wrong? Even in schools, I see some parents and I listen to the conversations.
Is this still the sting of
It's still the
apartheid?
thing.
Is this the sting of apartheid that actually brought this division or brought this inequality?
I do think it has some merit to it, but at the same time, I question the parents who are the millennial parents right now. So, like Xavier said before, he's in between. He knows the struggle and he knows what's happening right now. But then I look at the decision that you've made. You're not operating from a point of what apartheid did to you or what's happening.
Yeah, I need to make a plan.
Exactly.
I have to
So
make a plan. I
the
can't worry
millennial
about
parents,
apartheid.
I have a question for them, because it's millennial parents right now that is driving this whole thing of, if your colored friend in class is doing better than you, why aren't you doing what's wrong with my child? And I ask you, like, are you listening to what you're saying? You're already planting the seed that colored person is better than this colored person. So the next time I see somebody doing better, I'm gonna question, okay, how did you get there? Okay, who did you sleep with? Who did you kill? Whose drugs did you have to sell to get there? And that's the thing. Millennial parents are doing this right now. It's not the older generation. It's parents right now who drop their kids off at crèche in the morning, whose other child participated well in the sports day. What's wrong with my child?
Yeah.
But I remember also.
That's true, no?
I remember
That's
a
a fact.
time when our church was still in Elros and it was popular and it was doing well.
Yeah.
It's still doing well, but I'm talking about now that time. Then people were saying my father was selling diamonds. People were saying,
Yeah,
like,
weird
how
stuff,
is he driving
because
that
how do you
car?
get it right?
How is
Yeah.
he doing this? It's like, if you do well and you do it legitimately, there's always like, nah, bruh, it can't be.
It can't
we
be
not.
because how?
It's like,
If
how
I
are we
didn't-
doing all right?
Wow.
How are you doing well?
And we're not doing.
It's like, bruh, what do
Sure.
you mean? So that means we're not allowed to do well.
No.
Because if you are, then it's a matter of you doing something illegal.
That's
or you
where
doing something
apartheid
wrong.
comes in. That's the thinking of apartheid. That colored people
Because
were always placed here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were marginalized then and are still marginalized
marginalized.
today.
But we have to push past it.
You have to push past
We
it.
have to. It's like,
Because
is what it
irrespective
is.
of how you look at it, it did bring some sort of division. It
Complete
brought,
divide.
poverty, inequality.
It did.
It
It
actually did.
But now what?
Because you found in the colored community in the past with the apartheid government, it was, if you have straight hair, you were a Cape colored.
you were better than the other colors who didn't have
in,
it.
in,
Right
in
there.
the apartheid government, colored people
We're even further divided.
were divided.
If you lighter skin than this
You-
one,
you
you find you from the
understand.
same family.
Yes.
This one is lighter, this one's darker.
So
You
I
get
went
treated
to
different.
I
And
went
to
to
be
the
honest,
District
I
6.
see it still up till today.
Sorry. I went to the District 6 museum a couple of months ago and I saw how they divided. They even showed at the end of the number of your ID book how you were Cape Malay or
Yeah.
Cape Colored
Yeah.
or Colored or
Yeah,
Boos.
yeah.
And I was asking myself what qualified us to
Yeah.
divide that.
Yeah.
It was the pencil test
Pencil-
for the hair.
yes.
It was the fact that we were 3 different complexions,
Yeah.
same family.
Imagine pencil
White,
test.
No, hey bro, imagine pencil
If
test.
you talk
right
about it now, it sounds like
far-fetched. How did you determine my race from my
I'm putting
one-
a pencil in my head.
hair, bro?
Yeah. In one family, you can be Cape colored, that one can be Bushman, that one
But
can
same
be
mother, same father.
Same mother, same father. I don't get it.
But that is where
They
started.
succeeded. They
They
succeeded
succeeded in it.
so well into
so
the
a
divide.
lot of our mindsets are still,
Still
there.
there. That's why colored
And
right
we
now.
have to then break
Hey,
out of that
yeah.
mindset. Our children have to break out of that mindset because our children are not growing up like
in the times that other people did.
You have the privileges actually to learn the cultures of everybody.
Yes.
In the South African context, you have it's a privilege
That we have
to
I
be
feel
in
so.
school with
everyone.
so many
a
different
Zulu
varieties.
speaking, a Xhosa speaking.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a privilege.
It's something
man.
that you should be, but that's the
you
thing,
have
you
to
should,
be proud of.
and you should change your approach towards it, your
seeing
mindset.
it.
Instead of
Your
looking at the negative.
mindset.
I was watching now while I was driving here, and I see somebody remixed. You see that old school boys choir, ne? That guy.
The Drakensberg.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the Drakensberg one, where they they singing, and then they make this chant.
Yes,
but it's like a dope chant.
Yes, yeah.
Then someone,
Poptown Boys, yes.
I think it's
Poptown
Poptown
Boys, yeah.
Then they remixed it,
Uh-huh.
and then they made it a mix with Will Smith.
Oh,
Then I see Will Smith posted it on his thing. Now
That's
it's like
fresh.
now it's like
It's like
going
just trending.
going crazy. So now it's like
that's so cool,
this is
actually.
a black boy in a largely white Afrikaans
School.
school. And it's like mixed colored, black, white, Indian, everyone's there, and they're all going crazy. Now we're trending. And it's the same argument with the rugby team. It's the same argument with when Bafana was, Mark Fish, Sean Bartlett, Benny McCarthy. That's the time we thrive, bruh.
We
When we
thrive,
say,
yes.
"Hi, bruh, let's do this thing together." Then we thrive. Our rugby, our soccer, this example I just made now,
Even our cricket team.
our cricket, when we mix
Banana,
and do
same,
things together.
Same thing.
Aye,
They've
bruh.
been winning.
Same thing.
And
we
if you
there,
look at their team, they are so diverse and they took diversity and they put it in their arsenal to use as weapons.
Yeah, because it went according to merit, skill.
Skill, merit,
skill.
but then again, that not afraid to be diverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not afraid to push the
So
boundary.
Yeah.
let's bring some colored people. Let's bring some white people. Let's bring some black
That's
people. Let's bring some
right.
Indian gents. Let's bring whoever. And we see this man is good at this man is good. Let's
So
pull
we
this thing
put
off.
you where you're good at, so by the time we play the game,
We good.
we're good. We're
That's
good to go.
But that's how we
so.
won with Bafana.
Yeah.
the
That's right.
95.
And we thrived.
That's
those
how we
years,
win
eh?
That's how we win every World Cup with
True.
our rugby team.
And
We're
it's a
still winning.
Yes, we
Look
still
how
the
strong.
top, yeah.
Look how strong we are when we say, "I just let's rather work together as opposed to looking at each other. You are a little
And
bit
yeah.
darker. You have a different language."
And you know what happened in the last couple of years? Look at Aunt Jack, it's just a brand. There was one person who decided, okay, I'm going to defy the odds of you guys always making products for straight hair. And then this person came and she's like, you know what, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we're trending because of
Yeah.
curly hair. Everyone wants the curly hair now. Everyone
Everybody.
wants the
That's
in-betweens
right.
because now somebody changed the narrative.
That's
But that
right.
person decided, you know what, to hell with
Nonsense
this.
with this straight
What is
hair, man.
happening here? And
Yeah.
always making products for this. So I'm going to challenge.
Yes, hier met die relaxe,
Yeah,
jou
and-
hare val.
And back in the days, my mother used to talk about the primer stuff. They used to heat it. And the hair smells like primer. Ooh. And
You
I'm
burning
thinking to
your
myself,
forehead.
burning because you are to now be in with the Joneses. And I'm thinking, here's someone who decided, you know what, I'm going to change it. And she's catering to such a big crowd of the world who doesn't have that hair. And we are trending. Because how did our hair become so curly and so beautiful? It's a trend. People with straight hair are going for perms. I watch Chinese gents on social media going for perms. They do. I can't get it
Not the
over.
China with the palm.
What a perm, bro! And they putting in, you know, those old school rollers and the hair, and they spray it, and when they lose it, here's the tight curl. I'm like, yo, people are so after it because one person decided, you know what, no way,
Changing the narrative.
change the narrative, and that's what's happening in the world.
Yeah, the Chinese, they even make that brush,
Break-
that brush that makes a curl.
Make the curls,
That
and I'm
makes
like,
the curl.
yo, harakani curl.
Okay, so going back to our education, right?
Yes.
Because you're also in the education field.
Yes,
What
I
does the classroom of today look like?
Oh.
And what's the vision of education with things like AI?
Oh.
TWJT.
Okay, so my group of students that I'm lecturing right now is so diverse, so incredibly talented, but I say this to them all the time. They are so lazy. They're one of the most talented bunches I've ever worked with, but so lazy. Leave work for the last minute. And I get so frustrated because I ask, why do you have to leave it for the last minute if you can't work now? No, sir, it's not that important right now. It can wait. Then AI comes in. We're working with essays, and I say, okay, here's the introduction of what's happening. And then you have those kids that are like, oh, well, AI's here. AI, please write me everything. And then I submit it. And we catch you out, and we're like, you just use AI for everything. Oh, it's the ease of access, sir. I'm sorry. And I'm like, oh, the most talented, one of the most talented groups, but one of the most laziest groups I've worked with because of the ease of access to everything.
Sure.
But I think that's what the problem with
But
AI.
AI.
The
Yeah.
big problem
It's
with
the
AI.
relaxation of
Let's go
everything.
there, yeah.
Now the
Yeah.
big problem with AI, it's gonna make the people lazy.
Lazy to think
And
for
that's what
themselves.
happened.
It's gonna
right
make the
now.
people lazy, and it's
I
already
agree.
like that. You already
Yeah.
don't want to think. You already don't want to. Now, a lot of people might ask, yeah, but I'm not using the things that I learned in school. I figured out why school was important. It was that thing to say, exercise your brain. Here's math. Let your brain
Yes.
think. How do I solve for
Maths.
X? How do I solve for Y? I don't care. I'm not going to use it. But the idea that it's
Stimulates
stimulating
the
my
brain,
brain and
yeah.
it's making me think and it's making me understand things. I can tell you, the most creative I ever am, or when I get very creative, is when I'm
I
being
think-
stimulated.
Yeah.
Is
yeah.
when
When your brain
I'm
is like,
thinking
okay,
and
here
I'm
we
like,
go.
okay, how can I
Yes,
come up with this? What do I do
yes.
now? And then you become creative and you make things work. So that is again that vicious cycle. You become lazy, you leave things for last minute, you
Yeah.
flop, you come late, you become never mind about things, and then people are like, yeah, this person. I
So
don't know.
that's the half I'm speaking about. A talented bunch of young students, talented bunch of youth that I've seen. And I have the privilege of teaching a new bunch of students every year. I never work with the same students all the time. So it's interesting to see. One year I have a different students, the second year completely different, the third completely different. So there's not one in the last 5 years that I've been lecturing
That's the same.
that's the same, not one group. And it's interesting because last year's group were talented, but they prioritized hard work. That's what made them get into the spaces.
Wow.
This year, I have the talent, but a lack of that, like, complete, let's go, let's dive into it. And I'm doing a study right now on artificial intelligence. My master's paper is looking at artificial intelligence in the sound design space in South African filmmaking. And I found that with AI, it's so easy that You can prompt AI to create an entire soundscape for you without you doing anything. But the difficulty with that is if you don't know what you're looking for, you would fall into the trap of AI doing everything for you. But because I've studied it, I look at it and I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense here. But I can only do that because I've been in the space of studying what I'm actually looking at right now. So for people who haven't done it before, when AI comes, it does all your work for you, but you don't know that it's not the right thing. And AI says at the bottom then, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It tells you half of the information in here is not 100% accurate. Please check the references. We missed that whole part. We just think, that's AI, writing you this. Write a speech. Okay, here you go, facts. But you don't see that some of the facts in there are not actual facts. It is plagiarized facts from different things because the artificial intelligence will steal from a whole lot of information. And we don't know at the end of that, it says, please be careful that this information is not the truth. So what we do is if we don't know, we'll fall in a trap of just taking over.
So what do you think is the classroom of today like? How does it look like? Okay, we have one lazy. The youth are lazy to think for themselves, right?
Not all of them though.
Not all of them, right?
Yeah.
And then what are the other aspects?
One of the shifts I've seen is this element of when I was growing up. If I made nonsense at school, I was bang they're gonna phone my parents, right?
Yeah.
Because now you get home in trouble again, and so you like.
I want to get to that. Yeah.
I don't wanna. But now today's light is what I'm seeing.
No, phone my dad. My dad understands.
Father.
Don't worry, please call them. And I'm like,
You see, so now now that's a lack of accountability.
Our parents say, why do you pick on my child? You're picking on my child.
Now the parents come to fight for the children at school.
Yeah,
even if a child is wrong. Look, if you are unjust towards the child, that's one thing.
Case.
That's
it's a completely different
guys,
case.
this was now you were wrong. But if the child is wrong,
you have
when
to
the child is
out.
wrong,
you
you say, hey, my bro, you can't do this. This is not right. Your teacher's actually right here. And so
that's how we were brought to accountability.
Exactly,
even as
that's
a young
sense
kid.
of accountability.
Our fathers hit us because why is the neighbor hitting you? Give the hiding first and then ask, okay, but why did the neighbor give you a hiding? And that was the difference. We understood there's a reason, there's accountability. There's a dad that looks and says, no.
You have to take responsibility for your actions.
Now that for me is where my challenge lies at the moment with what's happening in the youth.
No responsibility.
There's no accountability. And it's not just with the youth. It's even with the government officials. Look at Zuma, ne? Look at all that things that went on with the Guptas. Look at all that things that went on with what's that big file that they went to go do where they spent billions of rands.
Yeah.
With that whole court case that they had. What was it called?
Still going on.
That whole thing where they...
With the national prosecutor.
With the judge that came in and they had to look at all this. I can't remember. The Zondo Commission.
Commission, yeah.
Still no accountability. Zuma ran away to go start another party. It's like, but my bro... What about all this nonsense that you caught on? Is nobody going to say anything about
Trump
this?
is doing the same thing.
Same.
Trump is the one president that got convicted, but he's still president. The one president that you can see, die man is nou nie reg nie. Like, even though this whole war that just happened last week, then he was on this one side, then he wasn't on this one side. And then yesterday he posted a whole thing. He says, I don't know what the F these people are doing. And everyone's like, what are you doing? Because he doesn't have accountability. He just wakes up and he says, the sky is pink today, it's going to go. And then tomorrow it's blue. Oh, I changed my mind. There's no accountability. There's nobody keeping that to say, guys, but there's a moral compass here. There's a fine line in between.
But now we're getting closer to the issue. The moral compass.
The moral.
That's where the problem lies.
Yep.
And this is why when Doc preached a couple of weeks ago and he said that the government is going down the road because they started taking prayer out of schools. When you remove the moral compass, then anything is true north.
Anything is possible.
Anything is true north. What's true north? Nah, this is my truth. This is my truth. Bro, you're going the opposite direction. It's my truth. I don't care.
We can even tell it's going to end up in a disaster. We warn you. No, don't warn me. This is
my truth. I feel like this is how I feel at the moment. And this is a lot of...
This is what is happening in the classroom
But
today.
that's my problem. A lot of these things...
Look at all the social media thingies on WhatsApp, the things that that trended where
The
children
are
hit
hitting the teachers.
I've never said that. For me is beyond me, because my thing is, what clicks in your head to say that it's okay for you to do this? You know, okay, I get the whole thing that sometimes the teachers are very hectic,
Yeah.
because I've seen
Yeah.
some of that, but at most of the times it's because you don't want to be held accountable. So before you want to take the accountability, you'd rather fight. We are our youth is so quick to
Take
we
offense.
mobilize very quickly. We can take offense now, and we can post something now, and in the next minute we're trending, and then we find you in the street, and it's a whole different ball game. And that's what our issue is now. Is we would rather fight than take responsibility for where we went wrong, and that's why our youth is in the disarray that it is because there's nobody keeping us accountable. I mean, I have a leader. I don't do things by myself. I check. Yesterday we
Absolutely,
were on
yeah.
the call about the camp that's coming up.
Yeah.
And the one thing I said is, in my head, it was like, okay, it's cool to shift something. And when I spoke to my leader was like, did you realize that the shifting does this? And I said, oh, okay, I didn't see it. But if you don't have somebody like
Yeah.
that,
You just gonna do
You-
whatever.
You
Do
can do
whatever you want
anything,
to.
yes.
But I'm at this stage in my life now where I sense that accountability needs to come back, right?
Yeah, that's
does.
true.
Because
you have
because
to be accountable. You
in
have
the
to.
space I'm in is the church space.
Yes.
And again, whenever there's a lack of accountability, it becomes incredibly difficult to work with
to do
people.
anything.
If it becomes one of those situations, we have a meeting at 7, 5 to 7, sorry, can't make it. There's a lack of accountability. We can't be.
You had the whole day to
We've
say
agreed
something.
that this is the time. I've left my things. I've changed my things. I was supposed to be somewhere else. Now I'm here. Now you send me 5 to 7, sorry, can't make it. That's unacceptable.
Because you don't understand that
But-
person also has a family. That family also
But outside of
it's a
that,
whole
because
different
there's
thing.
no accountability,
Accountability.
you,
That's
you
very
didn't have
true.
to pay for the thing. There's nothing that's coming off you. You can open the curtain and see it's a little bit cold. Yeah, no, I don't have to go. There's nothing you do.
There's no drive.
There's no skin in the game for you.
Yes, yes.
And this is why there's a thing that
and that's also a lack of integrity.
there's a
Yeah.
lack of integrity.
Lack-
But this is why there's a thing that says if you don't have skin in the game, or if you don't have something that it costs you something, then you feel like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
This is why I
Yeah.
always feel that I'll charge for events, even if it's a small fee.
Yeah.
Because it's a matter of, I feel like, you know what? What's the chances if you feel that, you know what, I paid for this thing? Do you know when Chris Brown came, people took loans for those tickets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still paying off loans. 12-month, 24-month loans to go to a 3-hour event. And
Yeah.
then when it's done. Now you must pay that X amount of loans off.
Nay.
Now here's my thing. So the priority to go to that thing was so high for you that you were willing to take a loan and pay it off over 24 months because
speaking
because there's a
something now, bro.
priority attached
Yep.
to it. It's like, I feel this is important for me. What value did you get out of that? Entertainment value. Nice. Walk back from the thing. At least this time they weren't robbed. And things.
Yeah, the last time
The
I
last
was
time
robbed,
people
yeah.
were robbed, phones were taken. But you walk back from the thing, you parked here, wherever you parked, and it was like, yo, that was a nice night. What do you have? You got some videos, you got some pictures. What value was it? And so again, it brings me to the point of, what do you value? Because
What
if
you value, you place meaning.
you,
Yeah.
you place
Yes.
you place
Place-
emphasis on
That's what the
something
Bible
that you
says.
value.
Where the treasure is, there your
heart
heart
is.
is
You
too.
So on that note, to close the thingy because we over our time.
Hey,
I
6
want to
minutes.
ask this, and we're going to close with this. What is the spiritual attitude of the youth today?
It's half and half. I have youth that are sold out, completely ready to go, break down the walls, tear down some strongholds, and make a difference. And then I have some of the youth that needs to be pushed to do that. And I think it's a matter of us waking up to that whole accountability thing. And it is, I always say this when I stand here and I say to them, and I spoke to my friend yesterday, I wish I had a youth that is not afraid to
Yeah.
go and break some boundaries.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about physical boundaries because everything happens in
Yeah.
the spirit and
Yeah.
then it manifests. Go up there and fight and make sure that something is happening so that when the manifestation comes, it's a whole different society that we see. And that's my wish that I had, even when I spoke to Xavier from his point of view as a youth leader before. That's the whole part. That's what made that youth powerful. there was youngsters there that was not afraid to pray, not afraid to stand in the gap, not afraid to go into the firing lane and change things up there so that things right here can change. And so right now I have a half of my youth that is on that tip, and the others that I have to coerce into, guys, let's go, let's make
So
it happen.
if we look at the youth of South Africa today, right? What would you say? Is there a fear
Come and
for
tell
the
you.
Lord and His
Come
word?
and tell you what's busy happening now, right? The Bible says in the last days I shall pour out my spirit on all flesh, right? There is a shift happening now.
Yeah, there's a
I can
remnant.
tell you that even if you look at the LGBTQ space, right? If you look at 5 years ago, 6 years ago, me just saying that would have got me into trouble now. But now you're getting a lot of Christian YouTubers, TikTokers, Instagram influencers coming out saying, but guys, as a Christian, this thing goes against my beliefs, this thing goes against this. Please don't judge me for this. Please don't cancel me for saying this. This is my belief and this is what I'm standing for.
Right.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot more of those now starting to come out and saying, but guys, hold on.
That's where we're seeing the cracks in the pavement.
Not just the LGBT movement, any agenda that mainstream Hollywood pushes on people, because the agenda comes from Hollywood.
That's right.
It goes through
That's
the
right.
movies, the music, the all that kind of stuff. And what happened with Lil Nas X, he comes out and he pushes the agenda hard. Pushes it hard. Then he goes one level up where he now starts pushing imagery of him dancing on the devil and him, versing Jesus and him mocking the sacrament and him. Then you have people came out and said, bruh,
Listen,
hou op as jy
yeah.
lekker kry, hoor.
Yeah,
Hou
this
nou
is
net
now-
op. You are now becoming disrespectful. You are now pushing the boundaries now.
We
Stop
were
it.
okay with you before, but
We
now
didn't mind it. We
no.
saw what you were doing. We were right with we didn't mind
But
your
now you are
sexuality and
in-
things.
yeah.
But now you are pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
And you found people starting to push now. So to answer the question is that you are finding a lot more people now starting to say,
Actually, you know
hold
what?
on,
This
you know
doesn't
what,
make
nee.
sense.
Wait
Call
now
this
a
out,
little
yeah.
bit now. Jy raak nou 'n bietjie out of hand nou.
Yeah.
Hou op as jy lekker kry. You're finding a lot of churches that is now starting to say, you know what, ne?
Can't carry on like this.
Can't carry on
Wait
like
now a
this,
little
yeah.
bit. We left you. We didn't mind you were deciding your sexuality. We didn't
Yeah.
interfere with your
Yeah.
things. You were pushing narratives.
Yeah.
We didn't interfere. Now
We have to draw a
you now
line.
coming into our space and you are abusing us now.
Yeah, because
Now you are abusing us now. You are forcing us to do things that you know we don't believe in, but you now coming into our space. Do your thing, do it at your space. I don't mind. But now you're forcing me to do
Yeah.
things that I don't believe in. And so you're finding a lot more people. Even if you look at this year, it's June. Last year, June, the rainbow flags were all over the place. This year, June, it's a little bit more. I don't know if you sensed it. It's a little bit more
Yeah,
like
it's true,
compressed.
yeah.
People are like,
yeah, it's true.
I'm not gonna push this thing as hard as I did in the past couple of years. It's still there, but there's a lot more people starting to ask. But now, guys, wait, man. There seems to be another narrative going on here.
Yep.
Wait, man. You all are pushing an agenda here. Wait, man. And with the advent of truth and people being able to jump onto the TikToks and saying, guys, this happened
not
now.
right. This
I
is
was
not
here. I have footage of this. I have
Yep.
like now with the whole Tyler Perry thing coming out, people are now saying, hey guys, I have footage of this man doing 1, 2, 3. I have evidence that this said 1, 2, 3. Now people are like, we followed this guy blindly. We thought he was Christian. We thought he was
This
saved.
is the whole
We
questioning
thought this is the
happening
thing
now,
he
yeah.
was driving, and we agreed with it. But now wait, man, there's something else going on here. Same with the dirty thing.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, we were dancing, the music was
And
quiet.
then we realized,
but now we see,
daisy.
what is he busy with?
Yeah. And now the
Right,
truth is
guys.
surfacing. We are at the
Now
crux
people are
of-
starting to say, hey guys, hold on.
Let's
we
question.
need some sort of moral compass here. This is getting out of control.
Yeah.
Right, we came to the end of our show and we want to thank you for tuning in. I want to just end off with this. Jeremiah 1 verse 4 to 9 says, the word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Ah, sovereign Lord, I said, this is Jeremiah, I do not know how to speak. I am only a child. But the Lord said to me, do not say I am only a child. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, now I have put my words in your mouth. And that is what I want to say to the youth, that God have placed a responsibility, especially if you are a Christian, a young person. I would like to tell you, don't fear, for God is with you.
I want to just answer this last, Kiana that's asking this question. Kiana, I want to say to you this, right? Your friends and the people around you is not going to be there when you stand before God. Your friends and the people around you is not going to be there when you have to answer the difficult questions for yourself. Your friends and the people that might be influencing, they're not going to be there when you have to sit with yourself and make serious decisions for yourself.
For yourself.
And outside of that, in the event that, God forbid, something happens to you, remember, life is only 80 years and plus. You might think, I'm still young, I still have time. You might think all of those things, right? But life is very unpredictable. Anything happens in a short period of time. 1 minute, the Bible says life is like a vapor. 1 minute you're there, next minute something happens. You don't have a clue that driving home this afternoon someone skips a robot. You don't know. You don't know. There was an uncle, we went to Westbury. There's a pastor there. His son was busy walking home on Saturday night. And they shot him, I think 5 times or 7 times. And he didn't make it. You have no clue what life holds. You don't have 5 minutes from now in your hands. You don't know what it holds. So worrying about what your friends are going to think and what people are going to think and how they're going to look at you and mock at you and us, I can tell you, I grew up. In my high school career, they called me Pastorki, they called me Christian, they called me everything. I can tell you without blinking, take it from someone that lived it first-hand experience. After school, you know how much respect I have from the people that I was in high school with. Do you know how they say, Zakes, you know what, we used to mock you and laugh at you and things, but we actually respect you. We actually looked up to you. We actually used to think, there's merit to what he's saying, there's truth to what he's saying. So don't ever make decisions worried about what this one's going to think and what this one's going to think.
True, yes.
If you are sensing that God is saying, come to me, accept me as Lord and personal Savior, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It's up to you, between you and God. God is your maker. God is your Savior. God is your Redeemer. He will open up doors of opportunity for you. He will put you on pedestal. He will put you on platform to the point where the same thing that happened to me will happen to you. Where the people that are laughing at you, mocking at you, will turn around and say, you know what? You actually showed us the right way. So don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. You can, I don't know where you live. If you live in Joburg, you can come to youth on Friday night, 7 Walton Road, Ayrton. If you live in Joburg, you can come to church on Sunday morning, and you can find a group of friends that will jump with you, that will worship with you, that will say, nah, bro, we're going to do this thing together. Don't be scared.
Yeah, you have helpers. You have helpers. Just say goodbye to everybody. We came to the end of our show, and we love you, appreciate you.
Amen.
We love you. God loves you. Go in the peace of the Lord. Mwah.
Thank you.
In the shadow, as I look upon my life, in the shadow, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams. As I look upon my life.